Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the VoxWork podcast. I am your host, Asmogan, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Nathan X2000. Thank you again for having me, you beautiful gentlemen.
Og ég er Nico 40.000, alltaf gaman að vera með ykkar.
Shit, my chair's floating.
Fuck, no, the desk. Shit, the desk.
The wind is kicking up.
No.
All right, gentlemen. So today we're going to be, we have a couple topics for you wonderful people who are listening and watching at your lovely homes. And we also have some community questions. Everybody ready to get into the topics?
Yes.
All right.
indeed.
Yeah.
All right. First topic is Space Marine 2 predictions.
Very interesting to be predicting on a game that we're not gonna buy, at least not
Yeah.
yet. Well,
And
if ever.
I guess we can start there as like, what are like, if any, or if possible, what are the conditions in which we would pick it up?
Nothing that GW would fucking possibly do. Like I said, they'd have to be offering me, a premium giga sloppy toppy fucking blowjob as an apology, and that'll be a start.
I would think the only... See, I do obviously want the game, but I don't want to pay money for it, so if someone gifts me to it, then sure, I would play it, but...
But then that's technically still giving money to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
As much as GW would earn a small commission from the sale, me and Asmo were having a conversation about this the other day. Like, they'd still get, I think, per sale, they'd earn a little bit of commission out of it, like, for the license. So, because GW, as much as they are malicious, they are smart. So they wouldn't do it like, oh, here's like a regular license fee, give us like a percentage of every sale, and then that all adds up to a big amount for them.
That is true. I would say there are certain conditions that I would pick it up. I definitely am not picking up the... Didn't they have like the collectors and a digital deluxe and...
Have a premium deluxe giga bigger mega
that
edition where you get to
shit.
dress up as the Ultramarines.
Oh,
You
God.
get a costume where you look like the freaking Primarch.
Yeah.
I feel like though, if they offered you that would be equivalent of wearing the outfit of Satan.
To me, it would be. It was like, hey, look, I got the Ultramarine pack. It's like, so you look gayer. Congratulations.
like-
It is Pride Month.
I feel like the Ultramarine Deluxe Edition pack is basically just like the Pride Month June cosmetics that games put in, for like free items.
Mhm.
As in, like, I'd always play games where like Gears of War 5, prime example, right? So one time they released a free LGBT pack at the launch of the game, and it came with like every single fucking pride flag you can imagine as a banner. For some reason, and I love this effect, whenever somebody has one of those items equipped, everybody fucking guns for them. Oh, but I absolutely love just going stealth mode in Gears of War 5 and hugging the outside of the map just so I could go around and just like lance a chainsaw, bayonet them right up the arse crack. But it was like, hello, gay boy. How are you doing? and to be fair, I think that'll have the same effect in Space Marine 2. He goes, look, there he is, the Ultramarine pay piggy. Get him.
Like the
Everyone
moment you
loads
change
Bolter with
something,
murderous intent.
Yes.
the blood coming from the chainsaw just has like glitter effect on it.
It's like, you dirty son of a bitch.
Oh my god! If they add the LGBTQ shoulder pad, the pull.
Oh, God. That is gonna
Look.
be a giant fucking target.
Look, it's one of the disciples of Matt Ward. Get him.
It's a Slaneshi cultist. Bam.
Get him.
I mean, the conditions under which I would get Space Marine 2 are, and it has to be bare minimum two of these. It has to be A, proven not woke. And obviously, this would have to wait for like a reviewer I trust to come out and point out this stuff, or at the very least showcase the story. So it'd have to be proven not to be full of any woke content. And B, it cannot have a hyper aggressive. Sorry, no, that's third. B, it would have to be functional. Like, not this AAA game bullshit we've been dealing with for like the last fucking decade now of games coming out from AAA studios, what are supposed to be guaranteed high quality productions, coming out with less functionality than an indie game from the 90s. Like, I'm sick and tired of that shit. So if this game comes out fucking broken day one, fuck it. I'm not getting it. I'm not even gonna do what I did with Darktide, which is I still got it despite the expectation of that, and then went back. I'm not even gonna humor it.
Wait,
I'm sick and tired.
Asmo, you still got Darktide day one.
I did, and that was a mistake.
I thought you disagreed with me in the comments section. I'm never letting that go, by the way, motherfucker. I will always make a reference to that comment in room. Well, actually, I disagree.
With what? What?
Do you not remember, like, when I was doing, like, my series on Darktide, like, and I then did the full review and then gave it a 5 out of 10 and said I still think we should kind of buy it because the history of Fat Shark shows that they do fix their games. In that comment section, you'd left, like, you know, you'd done a ton of them, you know, giving me, like, a bunch of praise and stuff. It was absolutely sweet.
So
but one of them was, like...
a little bit of a correction. Correction. I already had the game, and I thought I had refunded it at that point. I applied for a refund, so I didn't think I'd be able to get it again. Didn't want to bother getting it again. I never got the refund. They denied my refund.
Oh, okay. But you still, like, disagreed with me in the comment section, you know, and that is a cardinal sin in YouTube. You disagreed with me. You had a different opinion, how dare you?
Well, you're damn right I disagreed with you. And if I had not failed to get that refund, I never would have re-downloaded it and played it again. I've said that numerous times. I would not have even humored the idea of it, but I never got the refund. Don't you me? It's the truth. So, the point is, though, with Space Marine 2, if it comes out, I'm not getting it day one. I'm going to wait for a trusted reviewer. And to be honest, that's like one channel I can think of I trust. They don't point out woke stuff, but they'll point out the functionality stuff at least. Mordian Gaming, I think is what it's called. Not Mordian Glory. It's another channel, but shoot, I feel bad I'm getting the name wrong. But there is a gaming channel I typically go to for when a game comes out for a reliable review of saying, hey, is it good or is it shit? And I'm probably going to wait for their review, so it'll probably be a week to 2 weeks after the game comes out. And if they so much as say, oh yeah, the game occasionally crashes, it's like, okay, writing it off then. I'm sick and tired of this crap. I'm not getting it, period. If it has a history or it has a reliable track record of crashing, disconnecting, because I'm pretty sure it's an always online game, like a lot of them are now.
What?
I think it is, isn't it?
I don't know if I didn't hear that, but
What's condition number 3 then?
Condition number 3 is the microtransactions. This is the one I'm a little bit more, not forgiving, but a little, if it's the only problem and the other two are not present, depending on the form, I'll be able to put up with it, but it's the microtransactions. Like, we already know, especially with the season pass thing, that there's going to be, like, DLC and stuff that they're going to patch into the game. We've yet to see how much of that is purely going to be multiplayer stuff, or if they're going to add in, like, new missions and stuff for, like, the single player. Again, it's highly dependent on how they monetize it.
Yeah. Just to mention something as well, you know, this is like, I know that we do praise Space Marine, the original game, quite a lot. That did have microtransactions and it was cosmetic only, so it wouldn't be out of character for them to do that with this game, especially, you know, coming from the companies that it does. You know, World War Z is an absolute bitch for, you know, weapon skins and shit like that, although some of their DLC is actually quite good. But Games Workshop at the helm as well.
And also, I just got confirmation. So, the Focus Entertainment has confirmed an internet connection is required to play Space Marine 2.
I mean, it'd be kind of odd to need a constant internet connection to play the campaign.
Well, that's not odd these days. There's lots of single-player games that are coming out with online requirements.
Yeah.
Well, it's odd in premise. I think
I
that's
agree
what
with that.
Nico's
I
getting
agree
at.
with
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. It's odd in premise, but they've been doing it the last 6 years, 7 years. They've been doing online requirements for single-player games, which is infuriating.
Yeah, but obviously it's not all of them, right? You know,
Oh yeah, like
there's a ton of games that goes without it, but it's becoming an ever creeping practice. Ever since all that fucking Xbox One DRM shit was discovered, like they
yeah.
went ham on that one.
Hopefully we go like this is like me being very optimistic, but hopefully with a lot because gamers are starting to push back more and more like the last year 2 years about things like people are getting pretty sick and tired of a lot of practices and I think people are snapping.
Yes, the normies are noticing, which is the one thing you
Yeah.
never do. You never make the normies aware.
Yeah, you can piss off like the mega fans as much as you want, but it only really will come back to bite you if the normies notice your bullshit, and they are. So, hopefully, in an optimistic future, gamers continue to push back against bullshit and as aggressively as we have been lately, and we get back to a time that's actually games coming out fucking functional again. I can't believe that's now something we're striving for when it was considered a standard a decade and a half ago, but I digress. But people are also pushing back against like the aggressive microtransactions, the overall monetization, not necessarily just like microtransactions like skins and shit, like DLC and DLC creep and BS like that. People are getting sick of it. They're getting sick of the crap. So hopefully within the next, I don't know, 5 years, hopefully not 10, but 5 years, we're going to start seeing them go back to reversing at least a handful of practices. And honestly, the one that should be easiest to backtrack on is the online requirements for a lot of single-player games or games with less emphasis on the multiplayer aspects. Like, it makes sense to have like an online connection. It's like, hey, do you want to play the multiplayer mode? Yeah, well, you need an online connection. Okay, fair enough. But games like Ghost of Tsushima, that game is 99% single-player.
Mm-hmm.
It has a multiplayer mode, Legends, you can do, but you need a PSN requirement. And as far as I know, you can't play Ghost of Tsushima offline. I haven't tested it though, so I'd have to double check that.
You can play it offline.
Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah, so yeah, we still have a handful of games over the last 10 years that are still single player and they don't require online mode unless you use the online functionality, but they are starting to creep it into more and more single player games. But anyway, and those are my 3 criteria for Space Marine 2. I refuse to put up with the wokeness, so if it's not woke, and me and Nathan discussed this already, but the UN Ultramarine thing, like with like the Asian, black, and the multiracial Ultramarines, that is something I can ignore pretty easily.
Yeah.
If everything else is like, if nothing else is woke, if they don't point out the race to each other, it's like, my brother Blackie.
Jesus.
Brother Round Eye.
Asmo breaking out the gamer words.
My
feel like
brother
cute-
Blackie.
Feel like fucking PewDiePie on the PUBG bridge.
I'm gonna have to censor that. Just know I did not say the N-word. I said another word. But I don't know if that sounds better or worse. But, if they don't, like, point out each other's races, and they isn't some woko, like, nutjob female femdom character in the storyline taking up Lieutenant Mira's spot, I think I'll be able to make it to the game.
I remember that was the point of conversation when I brought it up, when you said, how can we make it, sort of female feminist? I was like, yeah, well, remember Lieutenant Mira?
Yeah.
They could easily bring her back and go, that man with all that armor and that black carapace, when I'm a woman and I'm on the battlefield with my vagina. Yeah, my vagina, and I bleed and I don't die because my vagina.
I swear to Christ, if we have to deal with some female commissar or female inquisitor even that's got a fucking stick up her ass and treats the main characters like crap, like Titus and his 2 cohorts, or just an inquisitor at the very least, I could understand talking down to them a little bit, because a lot of inquisitors are up their own asses to the point that they forget, hey, this is a Space Marine. There are limits on what you can fucking say. But if it gets to the point of like she's talking down to them as men,
or even worse, where basically they're in danger and then she pops out of nowhere and then defeats the entire danger, like a bunch of Tyranids, while the main character is just lying on his back or something.
Oh,
Like
God.
She fucking single-handedly defeats a swarm lord, and then she goes, "Yeah, well, that's called woman power."
Or or even another cringe line: "Never leave a man to do a woman's work."
Imperium of man should be the Imperium of woman.
You know what the worst part is there's an actual chance that what we're like mockingly saying right now is legit in the game.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
ADR'd, voice acted all the way through, animated, textured, and rendered, and no one's calling it a BS.
I kind of wish. I mean, if hopefully there's nothing like that in the game, but if there is, I kind of hope the same thing happened with. I kind of hope for the same thing that happened with the Wolverine developers, the one that are making the Wolverine game, where basically people data mined it so hard that basically they spoiled the entire game.
Ha! Oh fuck! I forgot that happened.
Yeah. And it's like they reveal it to everyone. It's like, look, the sickness has taken over.
Look how shit it is.
Just go full Puritan. It's like, purge it in flame.
Yeah. Sorry. Just one thing before we do move on to the predictions and our requirements to actually buy the game. If GW decide to pull the finger out their ass, is yeah, just another point in the camp of, you know, how big of a incels and chuds we are. You know, if you're ever looking to use an example of a really badass female character within 40k, you know, you can pull out the Sisters of Battle, you can pull out, you know, the ladies who fight in the Dark Eldar arenas. You know, Nico, what are they called again?
Wait, what?
You're the Dark Eldar expert, Mister. You know, the ladies that fight in the witch cult arenas.
The witches.
Yeah, witch cult arena, which is stupid, Nathan. Yeah, so you've got them, but also, even though it's soft canon, Lieutenant Mira from the original Space Marine game is an absolute fucking beast of a female. She is just all of Upper Command is dead. All the most of Imperial Guard forces are dead against an Orc invasion, and she single-handedly holds down the fucking fort.
Hell yeah.
And does
God
not
tier woman.
like, yeah, exactly, and does not go like, oh my god, you man, yeah.
Yeah, she thanks the Space Marines for, you know, actually arriving. She works with Titus. In fact, to the point where Titus even respects her as an Ultramarine captain. But then Titus is Chad anyway. But yeah, anyway, if you're looking for a good example to use against people that might insult, yeah, Lieutenant Mira, check her out, learn her history. She is absolutely brilliant.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
So, Nico, what would be would your requirements be the same as Asmo's then in order to buy the game?
I mean, it would be similar, yeah. Again, I would not. I mean, for me, it would also be just. I would just reverse the decision of the Custodes thing. You know, I mean, there's just so much shit that I can handle. Like, it was already getting strained for me with the Primaris and other retcons and all this stuff, but with outright just changing lore and just say, oh, they were just there the whole time. I don't respect that at all. That's kind of a breaking point. So if they manage to reverse that, right, and they don't say anything at all about any kind of politics, they don't even mention it. They're just like, oh, what? I don't know what you're on about. Nothing at all. It's like, hey, just enjoy 40k. If they manage to do that, reverse the decision and all that, then I would be interested in buying the game. Because it would show that, you know, some boycotts can work. And this most certainly can. Like, you cannot piss off the fans forever.
One thing you do have to be careful, though, is if they roll it back, right, they could just easily very re-roll it. You know, basically, everyone's bought the game and it's been out for 2 weeks now to change the law in a different way because we have full rights to it.
Sounds familiar.
And therefore, back in the law, yeah.
Mm.
It's almost like companies appease the fans for 2 weeks and then immediately roll back the decision once everyone then makes the financial decision to aid them, thinking they won.
Yeah, because they're probably relying on people having the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, that's why. To be honest, for me, like I said, unless I get like mad sloppy toppy from a GW executive themselves and a full-on fucking apology, I don't think I'm gonna buy it. As much as I want to, as much as I've covered and I've played the fucking Space Marine game to absolute death, I just can't in good mind buy it, honestly. But I really wish I could. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah, it's the same for me. Like, I really wish I could because because it's sort of the first experience I ever had with 40K. I think I already told you about this. Like, I knew about 40K for a long time. It was the first video game I ever tried with 40K, basically.
Yeah,
This is like...
Oh, sorry, go
ahead. No. I was just going... Yeah. And I think I already told you a bit where it's just like, oh, this is fun. I haven't a single clue what's happening. So, but I still had fun. So, I would say that, yeah, I do have some thanks to Space Marine. So it's just kind of hard for me to be like, oh, I it's a shame that I can't even buy the game now. I gotta stick to my principles more so than my desire.
Based. Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Sorry.
respect
it. Go ahead, Asmo.
Yeah, this is where I guess I differ with you guys a little bit. And obviously this is going to be part of a discussion where I am boycotting and completely unwilling to buy anything directly from GW for the same reasons we're all talking about right now, like female custodies and the corruption of the lore and the woke crap. The reason I'm a little bit more amenable to getting something like Space Marine 2 is, again, with assuming the criteria I provided before is afforded to, and it's not woke, it's not super buggy or broken. Getting that game, if that's the case, like I see that as showing with your money what you are actually valuing properly for like what you want for 40K to be. I might be wording this really weirdly. So basically, if the game is representative of 40K as it should be, it's not woke, it doesn't placate to fucking feminists who don't even play video games, it doesn't stroke the fucking dicks of a BlackRock and Vanguard and all that crap, and it actually is 40K as we expect it to be, as we understand it to be, as we as fans love it to be. If it is pure 40K, and we invest our money in that, I think that shows. Well, first of all, it also not much of our money will be end up for like every person who buys a copy of the game. GW is probably going to see like $1. So it's not the same level of support or investment that even if you bought like a paint pot, right? If you bought like a Citadel paint pot, that full amount is going back to GW for profits. But for this game, or for any video game you get, it's just a licensed game. Really, your money's going to support the studio and the people behind the game. It's not really in mass going to GW, not in any way the same amount as the products they directly produce. So if one kit of Space Marines or Primaris Intercessors is probably going to make more money than a dozen people buying this game. It kind of goes back to the discussion around Hogwarts Legacy, right? You guys remember that? And the Wokos, they said the same thing, like we're decrying, right? Like, hey, we're not going to get this game because we don't want to support the transphobe turf J.K. Rowling, and they decried that and they screamed that from the rooftops and the high heavens. But everyone rightfully pointed out to them, she's not getting that much from this compared to the actual product she directly sells. This is a drop in the bucket. And similarly, that's the case with, if anyone, it's the same the other way around this way. Like, if you get this game, it's not even a full breach of the boycott. My addendum to that, though, of course, is if you get this game and it espouses the same shit that GW themselves are espousing right now, they're going to see this as a win, because it's going to be a placation to that aspect. But if the game is like, if this game is like bolt action, or it's like the original Dawn of War or the original Space Marine in terms of how it portrays the setting. It's not.
Don't mean bolt gun.
What I say?
You said bolt action.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean bolt gun. My bad. But like getting those games, like again, first of all, I don't think of it as the same level of a breach of the boycott as buying like a miniature set. But second of all, for what little they are going to get from it, it's going to show the level of what fans want from the product. It's like, okay, we are going to buy this because this is real 40K. We won't buy your current stuff because you've already showed us that what you're currently providing isn't what we want. So it's punishment versus reward. It's like, okay, we're going to reward this and buy this because it's actually 40K. We're not going to buy this and we're going to boycott this because this is no longer 40K as you've dictated.
Right.
So that is why I'm more amenable to get it. But again, that's under the assumption that those criteria I levied are catered to. It can't be woke. It doesn't necessarily need to be anti-woke. It just needs to be 40K. Like true 40K. Yeah. No femdom bitches screaming orders at Space Marines and them obeying like little puppies. No transsexual characters that we have to hear rant about their struggles. None of that fucking crap. 40K. Give me Cadians fighting Tyranids. Give me Ultramarines fighting against an endless horde of Hormagaunts and Termagaunts, and not one goddamn fucking reference or innuendo to fucking Joe Biden or Trump. Not even something as small as a fucking Easter egg spray paint like thing on the side of a fortress wall. Nothing. I don't want a goddamn reference to that crap. But if it's true 40K, and it's not a buggy piece of shit, and it's not a crappy game in terms of microtransactions, I can see being okay getting it.
There are a few points I want to raise with what you said.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
So, when we had that conversation the other day, I gave the whole, if they get $1 from every unit sold, they could also do the DLC as well, because this time there are different edition sizes compared to Space Marine, which only had one sort of bigger edition with like the statue and stuff. So they could get a commission out of the DLC as well. Right. And the $1 was just a generous amount. Or like, that was lowballing it. GW could equally, because they've got such a reins on the IP, and given us Space Marine 2 is a highly anticipated game, they could be wanting a bigger cut. So they could easily get 3 million out of this launch week. Possibly. And also to support the publisher and developer, we just see how many. So the publisher and developer, and shameless plug here, like I covered in my own video about like Space Marine. Mm-hmm. I've got like near enough 100 hours on World War Z Aftermath, which was produced by. Was it produced by Saber, or was it on the Saber engine? Fuck, I forget which one it was. Hang on. Okay, yeah, so Saber Interactive. And they use obviously they're using the engine, it's basically how it called it on the trailer that I knew it was going to be them. Because the actual effects of the zombies looks like very fucking similar. And to be fair, they honestly could not have picked a better studio. But what I'm going to say is, of all the studios I want to support, it would definitely be Saber Interactive, because I love World War Z. I fucking love World War Z. It is such a gem of a game. Like, countless hours of zombie killing, colossal hordes that would make, like, Left 4 Dead 2 weep, right? And even then, I still wouldn't support them, purely because out of proxy to GW. And also, even if you want to go down the route of, you want to put your money where your mouth is, you want to reward the good, low stuff like you mentioned, Asmo. I think they already know what we want. Like, I wouldn't say they're blind to the idea of us, not wanting fem stories, not wanting, you know.
It's not a blindness to. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I'd agree that they do know, but the thing is the one thing I do think that they don't know necessarily is the true divide. Because right now, what they know of like the people who are anti femstoties, female space marines, and that the woke stuff, versus the ratio. Like right now, what they're mostly getting for feedback about that is Twitter posts and responses, emails and letters that are being sent to them. But all of that can be done by a vocal minority. I think for them to really see the cold hard facts is to see like the feedback from their sales, like are people buying right now, and lots of people, at least I've claimed online, and hopefully they're telling the truth. I know I'm in this camp, truthfully, are not buying their products. They're not buying the paints even right now. They're not buying primer cans. They're not buying the miniatures. They're not buying brushes. They're not buying paint water pots. They're not even buying the cheap stuff that JW sells. And keep in mind, cheap is in air quotes. People are not getting anything from GW right now, except for the few people who either don't care about the stuff at all, or are woke themselves and are one of the few woke who actually have money to spend on this stuff. So, but I think a huge underlying line for what's going to be a good showcase of how pissed people are is going to be Space Marine. And if the game is espousing the same shit that they've espoused in the latest codex, if it's espousing the same crap that they're pushing with their latest books with the transsexual stuff, if this game is a mirror of those things and those changes, and people don't buy the game, especially if word gets around, and after word gets around by the first like initial sales, then they immediately plummet. That's going to tell GW and obviously the publisher of the studio that developed the game, people aren't down for this crap. But if word gets around, hey, this game is faithful to 40K, and the sales strike up, then I think that's going to be the real indicator to tell the higher ups at GW, oh shit, we made a wrong call. We made the wrong call with the Custodes crap. Because if money is not going to convince them one way or the other, nothing will.
I really, really would love to agree with you, because that is such a simple solution. But I think they do know of the divide, because they're the ones that are fucking causing it.
Well, again,
and given how long a company like that has been around, and given the type of people that they've had to deal with for years, I think they are reading everything that we even on our side, we're putting out, but they're only listening and responding to people on their own side, because they're a lot less likely to get backlash from them. But something tells me they are paying attention to us, and they have been for years. You know, is the whole reason that they won't even mention Archer's name, the fucking cowards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, again, it's not their lack of awareness of our side. They're aware of us. I don't think they truly respect how many of us have this perspective. Like, again, they're dealing with a lot of vocal minority online right now, and that's what they're excusing is like, okay, all these people sending us letters, all these people who are posting and that we've been paying attention to for years, the people we've labeled detractors and haters and stuff. Yeah, they're just very vocal, but in reality, all these woke people we're catering to, they're the majority of our audience. What will really show them that, no, they're wrong, is going to be the numbers. The cold, hard numbers. Like, posts online from either side is only so much. And you're right, they are only listening to one side because one side is really laying it on thick, the moral manipulation.
Oh, like, no, sorry, they're listening to both sides. They're only replying to one side.
Yeah. The ones who are playing the moral game with them.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes like woke ideology so fucked, is how much it tries to play on like, oh, well, if you agree, you're a good person. If you don't agree, you're a bad person. The thing is, our side needs to do that a little bit more, I'm sad to say, because most of people on our side, and this is my philosophy personally, is, hey, we don't care if you feel this way or not, just don't affect us. Like, you're allowed to live your life the way you live. But they're actually like, well, if you don't agree with us, you're bad. As much as I hate being like a moralist, maybe our side needs to do that a little bit more.
Maybe. The thing
I
is,
don't
like,
care if you got tits or a penis. Better roll that fucking dice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's how we treat the situation. And
just kind of-
that's the truth of how we all feel, right? Like each of us here is like, fuck it, we don't care what you believe or how you are, just play the game. But they are the ones actually saying we do
kinda.
care one way or the other.
Sorry, I'd say to a tiny amount I do care what people think, but that's only because on the extreme side of things, I'd rather not associate with those people. Mainly on the extreme side, pretty much like 90% of the entire spectrum, I couldn't give a shit. But there's a certain 10% I'd be like, maybe not.
Nonsense.
the extremes of both.
I'm thinking of the extremes in certain regards, but yeah, that's one group. I'm not exactly gonna not exactly gonna go see
It means-
fucking Gary Glitter in prison and be like, alright, Gary, do you wanna have a good old game of like 40k? I'll be calm berserkers and just in the corner like, do you want to be in my gang, my gang, my gang?
Yeah, and to kind of on what Asmo said, I do sort of agree. I do find it relatively kind of sad though that it has come to this because generally speaking, I don't really care that much about like political opinions at all because I tend to just I want to know what the person thinks. I want to know what they enjoy far more because we can disagree on a political level, but we can still be friends.
Well, that's just what like yeah, that's just like what it is like. What about that?
Sorry,
what about that particularly set you off?
Sorry, just like I can imagine like you Nico in like a 40k store, just like Nico when he hears any differing political opinion, and he's there with a happy face. Nico when he finds out that the person opposite him is from like fucking Norway, and he just goes into a rage.
Nah, if he was from Denmark,
You're the wrong type of snowman. Get the fuck out of here!
Pulls out
Just
axe.
throwing hands over the fucking table.
It's like
You
a great.
will not eat my sheep head on pizza, you motherfucker! Bang, bang, bang.
you must
Like-
fight the shark, human.
A guy walks up to Nico and says, I think straight white men are nothing but absolute racist pigs, and they should all die. Oh, well, that's okay, friend. You know, let's just roll the dice and have fun. Oh, by the way, I'm from Norway. You son of a bitch! Grabs him by the neck and throws him out the window.
Motherfucker, you sold us to the Danish.
He gets fucking thrown out like the front of the window.
If I were to direct that scene in a movie, it would be that sequence, and then when he says Norway, just the panels like jump cuts back to Nico's face with him having like a smile but crazy eyes, and then I'd cut to the camera outside with like the window on one side and the guy going through
Yeah, it's all
it.
peaceful and quiet. Several seconds later, crash.
Bam!
Oh,
Fucking
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
still the idea that I'm just there and I just have war paint on me. It's just like, once I go into rage, oh, here, I'm going on
Yeah,
Viking, boys. I'm going on Viking. Here.
Yeah, like out of fucking nowhere, he's dressed like head to toe in full like fucking like Viking gear.
The Viking hell.
Ah.
But yeah.
So is that on
I mean,
the
No, because we still technically
yeah.
haven't talked about the predictions for Space Marine 2.
right.
Like,
I'll
Yeah.
end off my little argument bit with this. I'm not saying
Go ahead.
I'm right. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, and that's kind of the issue. Is what I don't like. I don't know that.
No. So I just thought of something like, I'm not right. I'm not just right. I'm far right.
Oh.
On the binocular.
it's like what does
Point
that
is,
mean,
I
Noah?
don't know I'm right. I am from my perspective, I think I'm right, but obviously we'd have to see at what the actual outcomes are. Now, if the game does not sell at all, and again, I cannot stress this enough, I'm not picking up the game if it has any woke elements. If it has anything at all preaching and ranting at me, I'm so tired of that crap. I'm not even humoring it, not remotely. I'm not picking up the game. If it's a broken fucking game, as well. I'm not getting it. I'm sick and tired of games coming out as broken pieces of shit that we have to wait 6 months after I've already paid for the product to be functional and be the product I paid for. I'm sick and tired of that. I ain't doing it. If it's either of those two things, I'm not getting it. But if it is a good representation of 40K from a lore standpoint, it is accurate, it isn't preachy, it doesn't do any woke crap, and it's a functional game, I think it might be worth the investment to show GW that, hey, this is the kind of thing we do want and you should be providing us, and that you're taking away. See what will make profit and see what won't. Now, hopefully that's how it's interpreted. I totally respect the argument that no, any kind of support whatsoever, they're just going to assume means that they're being unaffected, and that's fair. As it is, I don't think I'll end up getting the game regardless, because I don't think the criteria I've set they're going to follow.
Oh Christ, no.
I don't like the game. If the game is not woke, it's going to be a broken piece of shit. If it's not a broken piece of shit, it's definitely going to be woke. Like, something they're going to fuck up. I just feel it in the wind. So, this is kind of a moot point, I guess, at the end of the day, because I'm not going to get it regardless. But that's like that wicked out there condition is like the one scenario I could see myself willing to get it. But the only 40K game I can think of that I am gonna get and still get and that's because I already committed to getting it, is Speed Freaks, the Twisted Metal style orc game. That's probably gonna be the last 40K game I get going forward.
Yeah, I really do want that game as well.
I beta tested it. It was so fucking good. Like,
That was a good stream.
it was
Definitely a good stream.
It
Yeah,
was
very
so
entertaining.
fucking. I have not been that hype about playing any video game, mind you. I've not been that hype just playing the game and like just losing myself in the action. Probably since what was that Twisted Metal? It wasn't the first one, but it was a Twisted Metal on PlayStation 2, I think.
Black or
I think it was Black, maybe. Wait, wasn't that PS3 though?
Yeah.
It wasn't. All I know is it wasn't the first Twisted Metal. It was one of the sequels. But I remember getting into it so much with my cousin and playing split screen and losing ourselves and just screaming at each other. At one point, he smacked me in the head with his fucking controller. But it was just so much fucking fun, and Speed Freaks was great. So that is going to be and I think it technically, no, because they didn't make us pay for, like, the beta was free. So, but yeah, I've committed to getting that. It's also not going to be $60. It's going to be like $30 when it comes out, if I recall correctly. So
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm getting that for sure because there's no story in that game, so it's not like they can add anything woke. Except maybe skins, but fucking hope they don't bother with that shit. But yeah, predictions. Outside of our personal criteria and stuff.
Predictions.
Nathan, you want to go first? Hello?
Nathan?
Did we lose?
Shit. Sorry. I forgot I had myself on mute. Then I just yawned a little bit. Sorry. Okay, so predictions as in what then?
What do you predict from the game? I guess we'll go through like the three like major things. What do you predict for the? This is how we'll do it. What do you predict from the single player campaign, like the story? What do you predict from the gameplay? And what do we predict from the monetization? Yeah, I guess also, but yeah, let's also do that one if you have one. A prediction of the multiplayer. We can all do the first one and then do the second one, one at a time.
Yeah, we could do, or you two could just give your answers, and I could just say, "Go watch my video on it," because I just break down all the predictions of that video.
Fair enough.
It's almost like I've done a massive video on it before.
True. I'll link that in the description in the pinned comment. Nathan's wondrous.
Oh no! Please don't. It's cringe.
Well,
Pin it.
either say it here or I'm gonna link it. That way people know what your thoughts are.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I will. All right. So anyway.
Okay. For the sake of conversation, I'll just reiterate it. Then I'll have to be social when I'm on a podcast.
I know, crazy.
I know. It could be watching Finster's stream right now, but no.
It's the stream whacking it.
It could be waxing my carrot, you know.
You be in your fursuit. Wait, what?
Hey, I'm not Joel. Chill. Okay, so predict. Okay, first question. Go on, Asma.
All right. First question.
Go.
Prediction for the single player campaign. This is what I genuinely believe it's gonna end up being. Hence why I'm so confident I'll probably not buy it. So the single player campaign is going to kind of start out like the original game. They are gonna try and trick us into thinking they're gonna be faithful. Structurally, I think they're just gonna directly rip from the first game. So they're gonna drop us right into the action with a quick introduction to Titus and his two companions. I even think that cinematic trailer we got for the trailer is actually going to be like the intro sequence. And
Maybe.
immediately after that, we're going to jump into the gameplay segments, and from there, the story will unfold. Now, I think the overall story, the overarching story with the Tyranid invasion, I think that's going to be woke-free. It's because the main plot is going to be, okay, we're going to be fighting against the Tyranids, and we're going to be fighting them, and just like with how it flowed with the orcs in the first game, it's then going to shift to a chaos subplot, or B-plot, after the A-plot of the Tyranids. And the end of the game, well, I'll finish talking the overarching, and that's gonna flow like that. We're gonna fight chaos. I'm assuming as well there might be also another relic, like in the first game, because I really have so little faith in modern writing in games, especially when they end up being a sequel to a game that's been long dead. They either rip way too hard from the original in terms of structure, or they don't rip it at all and they just take the name. And I think this is going to be more of the former case. So we're going to have a relic situation that's going to lead to the Chaos arrival. And the one difference is, instead of it being the Black Legion, which is what it was in the first game, now it's because we've seen some screenshots, and it was from the multiplayer segment, but I think it's going to be in the main campaign. Is we're going to be doing with Thousand Suns or Death Guard is my guess for the Chaos Marines we encounter specifically.
The Thousand Suns were already shown, weren't they?
Yeah, they were shown in the multiplayer trailer, which is why we're not certain they're going to be in the single player, but my guess is that's going to be the case. It would be weird if we did Black Legion again. I mean, I guess it would.
Do you think they will bring what was his name, Nimroth again?
Oh, okay, right. Actually, so well, actually, it wasn't the Black Legion. So the Space Marines, the Chaos Space Marines in the Space Marine game are actually the Chaos Warband, the Chosen of Nemroth. He has his own.
Oh, they look just like Black Legion aesthetically.
If you look at the character models, they are their own individual, because you can directly access the customization.
Right. Okay. Well, fair enough.
On the thing, and it does say, sorry, I did pull a bit of a.
Well, no, that's fine. For the other autists who may be watching, they'll appreciate your will, actually.
Oh, by the way, no, Thousand Suns have been confirmed for the single player because they've got Terminators in there with cannons.
Gotcha. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
So one part of my prediction is already confirmed. So Thousand Suns are going to be the Chaos Warband we deal with directly. And my guess is the plot will end not the same. This is the one thing, if they ended it the exact same way, obviously it'd be stupid as shit. It's like Titus, the Black Templars come out and go, Titus, Templars, jail. All right. I don't think they're gonna do that. And
he's like fucking CJ from GTA. He walks on the ship shit, here we go again.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be funny for memes, worthy, but I think it'd be very dissatisfying story wise. But I think how it's gonna end is this is gonna be my biggest prediction, and the one I think I'm so confident I'm gonna be right about this. But given the season pass and I'm pretty confident that they're gonna try and cut some of the single player out. I think it's gonna be an open-ended initial base game campaign, and they're gonna have part of the season pass to try and incentivize purchases of it. Is they're gonna include further storyline via the season passes and DLC. That is a genuine belief I have. I don't think we're gonna get a conclusive ending in the base game.
Yeah. I think they're gonna like. Do you think they're gonna do the same thing as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, where it's just like, oh, yeah, you killed all of them, but hey, the story's not really over.
I hope it's not that fucking bad, but
you know, there's a Space Marine 1, now there's a Space Marine 2, and Space Marines live a long ass fucking time, so there's nothing to say there won't be a Space Marine 3, or a 4, or a 5, or a 6.
Right. I mean, a sequel would be better because it incentivizes. Like, if they're planning a Space Marine 3, that's better than if they're doing what I think they're actually doing, which is, I think that it's going to be an open-ended base game, and we're going to get a bunch of pricey DLC, which will have multiplayer DLC components for, like, skins and stuff. But I think they're also going to try and incentivize purchases of it via, like, expanding or finishing, really, the base game story. That's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am on that one.
You mentioned it. So you mentioned it earlier. Like, what do you think the if the game would have like woke elements? What do you think they would insert it through? Because obviously,
I was about to get into that with like the finer details, because that was just like the overarching thing I think is going to happen with the story. I don't think that's going to be woke, like the big main plot or the main threat story. I think the wokeness is going to come in with the character interactions with NPCs, both friendly and enemy NPCs. Now, obviously, with the Tyranids, I cannot fathom how they do it with the Tyranids, but with the friendly guard, because we already know we're working with Cadians. So my prediction is we're going to have a Mira 2.0, but a utterly... I can't say that word on stream. A utterly shredded and violated version of her. Now, I don't think it's going to be actually Mira herself, because we've already confirmed this is hundreds of years after the first game, because he has a new campaign stud on his head, which each one of those is hundreds of years of service. So,
sorry. What about like halfway to the campaign, fucking like because of the way she held the invasion at Forge World Graia, she just walks in on a fucking dreadnought.
Or maybe they'll do the Fallout thing where they just have the characters survive for hundreds of years and nobody has an explanation.
He's like,
thing.
even in death, I still serve.
Like, why do you look exactly the same after hundreds of years?
Don't worry about it.
No need to question.
I'd happily put Mira in a dreadnought. Like I said, you know, even at death, I still say fucking minigun spins up like the Dawn of War 1 trailer, just like mows down a bunch of Chaos Space Marines.
I mean, I'd be fine with like a minor mention of it, like, yeah, you served with one of our honored guardsmen, Mira. Oh, surprised you remember her, or something like that. I don't know. Like, I'd be fine with a mention, but like I'd rather.
I'd honestly be surprised at a mention, because Mira didn't Mira plays a huge role in the game, obviously, you know, and it would be nice to get like a little Easter egg and a mention, because she definitely deserves it. But within the lore of 40k, she's not a big sort of Imperial Guard, so I don't think an Imperial Guardsman, like PDF Force, whatever, on a different planet would even know about her.
Yeah. The only potential mention of her that we'll get is from Titus himself.
Yeah,
and that's the only, like, that's one avenue. Now, assuming the game is like the most hopeful version of it that one could have, and it's not woke, and it is an actual faithful. Again, like, I don't think that's going to be the case. Genuinely speaking, I'm
gonna play a drinking game every single time you say the word woke. I'm gonna just take a fucking shot of like Kraken or.
What would you like me to say
fucking
instead?
Jaeger. Just stop saying the goddamn. Stop talking about the woke stuff. I know you. We know you hate the woke. Goddamn it.
Say
You
the
don't?
message.
I know you hate the woke. We know you hate the woke. Stop going on about the woke. Just talk about Space Marine 2. God damn it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know, but you're going on about the woke shit. Oh, well, it's not woke. We don't want it to be woke. Yes, woke shit. Stop talking about the goddamn woke. Fuck's sake.
How am I supposed to give you my like predictions if I don't branch in
Just
it?
talk about the game. You don't have to talk about the wokeness.
That's what
we know you hate it.
that's gonna be in the game.
So you predict it's going to be in the game?
Yes.
Well, you've only got to say it once. Why the fuck? You go,
Do you not want me? Okay, I won't give
2
specifics.
minutes
then.
later. Well,
I won't give
provided it's not woke.
I won't
5
give
minutes later,
specifics then. I won't
provided
give
it's not
specifics
woke.
then. I won't give specifics then.
Nico, any
Shall I?
specifics with you? Yes.
I'll try and avoid the W word. So, I think sort of what Asmo mentioned. I think they're going to have the intro be the trailer that we saw. I think in general the aspect of chaos that's going to be introduced. If they do, obviously the Thousand Suns are basically confirmed to be in it. So, what I think is instead of the relic, right? They have maybe they have like
Oh, by the way, do you mean Relic is in that little tiny chaos
Yeah.
warp device that they've got to get
Yeah.
from Drogon?
yeah, I think instead they would try and maybe the idea is that the Tyranid invasion is just a preamble for it's like a distraction for the guard and the Space Marines so that they can create like a portal to bring about the influence of chaos and so forth. I think they would possibly do that, maybe, and I think maybe the planet will fall. I don't know. I'm not 100% on the prediction, but I think the message will get involved if it's in the character interactions. And
Careful, you say that too many
If,
times, Nathan's gonna bitch.
I'm only.
We literally
let's-
complained about it in a previous video where people go on about woke too many times. You mentioned it so many goddamn times within the space of 10 minutes.
At least say it in a different accent. No, but yeah. Now, assuming the message is not going to be a part of the game, I'm not really predicting a grand story. Maybe at best, maybe a 6 out of 10. So, yeah, and
I mean,
don't know-
going
actually-
off going off what Asmo was saying about before, which is absolutely fucking smack bang right on us. I don't really anticipate the people behind this game, especially the lead writer and what we know of her currently. I'm really not expecting, of Pride and Prejudice levels of writing.
I'm not expecting a Shakespearean epic,
Mm.
as awesome as that would be for 40K. But actually, one thing I do sort of predict, and this is what I hope will not happen, and I already know, Asmo, you do not want this to happen. Can you guess it? It involves the Ultramarines. Think Ultramarine fanboy.
I don't know. Fucking Titus jumps up out of his armor and turns into Superman.
No.
Oh no,
Rabute-
Nick! Oh fuck that Ultramarine fanboy.
Yeah. Titus teams up with Rabute Gilliman, and he talks smack about Rogel Dorn.
That would be a very specific fuck you.
Yeah.
Mm.
That'd be
Little did
very
Asmogan
specific.
know that the whole writing team of Space Marine 2 watches his videos.
That'd be one way to
what if
find
it
out.
Yeah. Oh, actually, another prediction I have is maybe, or maybe they'll have a rematch of. No, wait. Did they? I sort of forgot this. Didn't Magnus and Rabute Gilliman have a fight when he came back, or?
Didn't they do it in the warp? Because the last time I heard about Gilliman and Magnus having a fight was when they were in the warp, and it was the Harlequins that broke them out of prison. and then like Cyphers was there as well. Cypher, not Cypher, Cypher. Sorry.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was part of the Gathering Storm or something, or. Well, either way, I think to get back to the point is I think if they're gonna have Rabute Gilliman team up with Titus, I think the final boss will literally be Magnus, trying to bring chaos to a. I don't know.
I would say that bringing back Magnus for that particular interaction would be a bit weird, but then again, in the new Chaos Gate remake, you literally do fight Mortarion at the end.
Mm-hmm. I'm just sort of thinking, because the Primarchs really do get a lot of the attention, like they are attention magnets, quote unquote, and I think the best way for to really test the resolve of some fans is, okay, if they have the Primarchs and they have them together and they have them talk shit and fight each other, it's like, I do know that some will break and be like, oh my god, I gotta get the game, regardless of how good or bad it is.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna put in the Primarchs, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would say that's my prediction.
As for like a conflict between Gilliman and Magnus, I can only think of the Gathering Storm stuff.
Yeah, like I said, that's the last time I ever heard both of them sort of fight against one another.
Yeah, Mortarion.
Unless there's a new story that I don't know about.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. And any new books I don't give a shit about, so I all I got in my head for like Primarch stuff for the 41st Millennium is Gilliman v Mortarion, and upcoming Lion versus Angron. That's all I could think of off the top of my head.
I think that's also I think I pretty much got that out of my system. That is my prediction. What do you think, Nathan? Have you thought of anything yet, or?
As to the ending of the game, like how everything's gonna play out, pretty much along the same lines of as Asmo. The fact that the Tyranids, it's basically gonna play out exactly like Space Marine 1, where you're gonna get the sort of, hordes and hordes of enemies like we did with the Orcs. And then near enough round about the halfway mark of the game, we're sort of gonna be introduced to Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out, big Chaos threat and fucking. And then whether it's Nemeroth come back, or it's the Chaos Sorcerer that was in Bolt Gun, because Bolt Gun is canon.
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever get to the end of Bolt Gun?
I did not.
Almost.
No, I did. Oh, yeah. I need to.
Okay.
The game.
So the very, very end of Bolt Gun, you basically do fight a Chaos Sorcerer, and because it takes place on the same planet, Graia, all the Orcs are fucked off, Chaos is still there, and as far as I know, this Sorcerer was part of Nemeroth's warband. As far as I know, I might be getting that wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments, but he might show up in Space Marine 2. But if he shows up in Space Marine 2, I really want the pro tag for Bolt Gun to show up as well. Fuck, what was his name? Pro tag of Bolt. It was like a really cool name. It's like fucking shit. What was his name? What was his name? Kaido. Or Kaido.
Oh yeah.
Main character of Bolt Gun, Malum Kaido or Malum Kaido. If he shows up in Space Marine 2, I'm gonna squeal like a fucking little girl. That'd be dream team. That like I'm pretty sure that'd be the same feeling as watching like Hulk Hogan come out with Macho Man Randy Savage in WWE.
They would need to portray him as one angry motherfucker.
Oh yeah, there's no
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
way you go through all of Vulcan with that level of skill without Titus going fucking hell. Yeah, I'd want some sort of integration with Bolt Gun if the game is officially, canon. And I do think they are gonna bring either they're gonna pull some Star Wars shit of like they're gonna mention them only in names, the same way they did with Darth Vader, where they kept teasing the helmet. Like they might tease Nemroth a little bit, but then ultimately it's just some I don't know, sorcerer from Bolt Gun or just some like lackey of Nemroth. But if Nemroth does come back, then I'm gonna have fun animating that one. I've saved the assets for just such an occasion.
Do it.
So yeah, that's my prediction to the single player. If you want to go on to, I mean, should we cover the multiplayer? Because I don't really think. Like, what's there to say about the multiplayer that I don't think won't already be replicated from Space Marine 1?
Really, if you have anything you think will be different, bad, or good.
I think they'll. Didn't they all? I think I heard somewhere they're gonna add like co-op elements, which I would be interested in. Because I prefer to play alongside players and trying to work together instead of fighting each other.
Yep, because it's basically the company that did World War Z. It'll definitely be a PVE mode where like it'll be horde based. But with the addition of the Hellbrutes from the Thousand Suns, I reckon they're gonna have the regular 4v4 or 6v6, 10v10, whatever game mode they decide to increase it to. Deathmatch. I think you're gonna have some sort of capture point game mode. And like I said, with the Hellbrutes, I definitely think they're gonna have like. Did you remember the Dreadnought game mode from Space Marine? They're just gonna have a version of that, but with the Hellbrute or whatever. But in terms of the co-op, in terms of you and your buddies, I think obviously you've got the NIDs in there, so there's definitely going to be some horde mode, PVEs, everything. Might add a few chaos elements as well. But as far as that, I think it's going to operate mainly like World War Z again, where you have already preset loadout classes that you can pick from, and then just fire up a game mode and just kill Nid. I don't really think it's going to be that different. So it could be like innovative, if you get me. Like it's not going to try anything new. It's just going to stick to what it knows.
My personal prediction is for the new things for the multiplayer. I think we're gonna get purchasable armor sets and stuff.
You think? Actually.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. I thought you meant what the multiplayer would offer, not like the microtransaction side. Like I think that's definitely a confirm now.
Yeah. It was any prediction with like the
now let's
multiplayer.
Yeah, say the game launches shoddy. Like maybe the campaign would be good, but the multiplayer is shit. Are you predicting like Eternal Crusade or something like that?
I mean, I don't think they're gonna try and do an Eternal Crusade substitute thing. I don't even think they've considered it. Nothing about what we've seen from the previews has given me the implication that that's an audience thing that they're targeting. I think the best we're gonna get for like multiplayer modes is mostly in line with what Nathan said. It's gonna be a lot of the same stuff we had from the first game. In terms of PvP, direct match stuff with other players, it's gonna be Chaos Marines versus Space Marines. They might be nice and let us play other things like Guardsmen v Cultists or stuff. I don't think so. I'd be extremely surprised if we go outside. And the game's called Space Marine, to be fair. The expectation isn't set that we get to play anything other than Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines. So I think like for PvP though, the biggest the matches are going to be, and this is like me being extremely optimistic, I think it might be 10v10 at the biggest.
Right.
I'm not thinking like we're not doing Battlefield style matches. We're not doing Eternal Crusade style Warzone things. It's gonna be more skirmishes. It's biggest I think we're gonna get is 10v10.
Hmm. I definitely do hope they update the limit, on the Space Marines, because graphical and engine limitations have gone down. Given we can do more shit with more stuff now. So yeah, 10v10. Although I would like to see, I don't know, 14 or 16v16.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
like to.
Because Because even though I don't think they'll do an Eternal Crusade thing, because Eternal Crusade was its own thing. Like, the whole point of Eternal Crusade was to work on Eternal Crusade's basis, rather than try and fit an Eternal Crusade game mode into Space Marine 2, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Eternal Crusade had to be its own dedicated thing with its own dedicated game mode, or game modes. But if you're on, like, a colossal map with, like, 12v12... fuck this. That's too tempting. Because that would genuinely try and influence me a little bit more to buy the game, because that would be absolutely amazing. What about you, Nico? Multiplayer wise?
Multiplayer wise, same stuff we had as Space Marine. I think they're gonna focus more on the co-op side of things, because I think I could have misremembered from one of the trailers, but didn't the campaign have co-op in the same way like Halo does?
Define Halo, because Halo has FPSs as well as PvE in some games.
Right. Basically, where you could just like you can join your buddy in the campaign, even though canonically you're only playing as Master Chief solo. You can actually like tag in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant multiplayer was in like a dedicated multiplayer, not like multi-single player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can just like drop in and join a campaign.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna focus more on the co-op side of things, because again, like with the developer, they're most known for World War Z, which is an amazing game. Which, by the way, Nathan, we have not finished that game. Like,
Yeah, we didn't finish the Arizona campaign because somebody left after like an hour. Mister.
Yeah. But if it's gonna be a buggy mess though, God, I don't even want to predict it. I don't know if it'll have microtransactions. Hopefully not, but I sort of see.
Well, the multiplayer.
For the multiplayer, yeah.
Oh wait, most certainly will. That I can assure you. I will bet my left testicle on that.
Do you think it's gonna be like the Helldivers thing, where you can actually earn some of the currency by just playing the game, or do you think
you can probably earn some of the currency, but given the DLC and the business practices of Saber Interactive, they're going to make it a fucking slog, because that's what they've done with the command points, or like the C points, which you can buy like special upgrades and stuff, but they are it's a slog to earn them. Having to do challenges and stuff like that.
Right. So yeah, I do think that would be for the multiplayer, relatively speaking. I don't really have any more to say. So
yeah, no, to be fair, there's not a lot to say in the multiplayer, because I don't think they'll innovate in a lot of ways, to be honest.
No, like the only thing I would ask is that it's, again, like competently made, not a lot of connection issues and stuff like that, relatively speaking. Like if it plays well, relatively, I would be more than happy, though, of course.
I think it will, because Saber Interactive, like I said, they've got a lot of experience with World War Z, so they know all the it's not like fucking. Well, then again, Fat Shark did fuck up their servers, and they ran Vermintide 2 for years. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna hold off on saying that, because just because you're an experienced company doesn't mean you always know what you're doing.
Yeah, and sometimes there are decisions from the higher ups that demand something else, even though you know better. So yeah, Yeah, I
Mm.
have nothing more to say.
Yeah. So what was the third one, Asma?
Functionality, I think, is what the third one was.
Functionality. So we're talking like bugs
Yep.
or
Like,
glitches? Oh,
is it gonna be buggy, glitchy, connectivity issues? What do you
It's-
predict on that
it's-
front?
It's already been delayed once.
and I don't think we're gonna get like the cyberpunk thing.
I miss when a delay made me feel more confident, not less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get the cyberpunk thing, but I swear to God, if we get the Assassin's Creed Unity faces,
Oh no. Oh no.
Titus's floating jaw and eyeballs.
oh my God, it's just like his soul just doesn't want to be an ultramarine. It's just like, please get me out of this thing. It's my prison.
I could sympathize.
Yeah.
And
Brother, I didn't download Source, brother. My textures are missing.
going by what I read earlier with their own posting about it, assuming that the single player and the multiplayer require an online connection, and I think there is going to be a decent influx of people. I do think their sales are going to be, at least I hope, are going to be underneath what they expect because of the current boycott. And fingers crossed that remains to be the case, is if the game especially is what we predict it to be. But I predict day one that there's going to be a huge number for the people who do get into the game. There's going to be a huge number of DCs. Like, a lot of people are going to be trying to load into the game, and they might even successfully get in the game, but they're going to DC. I don't think there's going to be... Well, it's going to be that, or it's going to be crashes. Just outright crashes. Because we're either going to see a disconnectivity, or we're going to see crashes. I don't think we're going to see both, but honestly...
I just got a
possible.
comment in Korean. Sorry. Sorry. It's just, it completely took me out. I just got some comment in fucking Korean on one of my videos.
You have a diverse fan base.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I predict the game is going to be really bad for DCs and or crashes day one. I think they're going to clean up the worst issues within probably the first month in terms of crashes of DCs. As for like more minor bugs, like this is where I'll have to lean on Nathan a bit more because I don't know much about Saber Interactive's history with their games when it comes to minor bugs.
Same as Fat Shark, they fix it. They've got a history of fixing, to their credit, but and World War Z was technically a game not ahead of its time, but it was definitely innovative given the engine they were using, and obviously it paid off. You know, Nico, you've played World War Z. You know, you know exactly what playing that fucking game's like.
Yeah.
So they definitely have the work cut out for them if they're going to try and implement it on a bigger scale with the NID. But I trust in what they do as a studio. As someone who's been burnt out on a lot of other game studios lying to the audiences, I do trust Saber.
Okay. Leaning on that trust, then, I'll say there probably won't be too many minor bugs. We're just going to get the connectivity ones. And the argument there will be either because they weren't predicting the sheer amount of server capacity, or it's just not a... With this specific game, I think that we're going to see that get taxed. Don't get me wrong, World War Z, I'm sure, was a popular game when it came out, but this is a sequel to...
It still is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's still... Yeah, like I said... The hordes in World War Z would make Left 4 Dead 2 weep. Asma, have you ever played World War Z?
No, I don't own it.
We have something to do.
That's one fucking game I'd love to see you stream.
Dude.
I want to see the reaction on your face when you see a horde for the first time, or you've got to fight one.
That is definitely a game we have to play together, man.
Yes.
The bros with a bottle of whiskey. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Note to self. I don't know. Maybe we could make that like our first VoxWork gaming.
Yeah.
Like a
fine.
collaborative podcast episode of us playing a game. One of us, in my case anyway, playing a game for the first time.
So down.
Well, again, my lack of experience with the studio in
Yeah.
particular, I still think there's going to be the delay in particular is what makes me think this is we're going to see the disconnections or the crashes, minor bugs, leaning on Nathan's experience with the studio, probably won't be as much of an issue. So I think the worst of it will be cleaned up after the first month. That's not me saying like, oh, then we can buy it. No, again, if it's there to begin with, I'm not getting it. I'm just tired of getting. I'm tired of any studio or publication selling a product that's not finished and expecting you to pay for that full product but not get it until a month after you paid for it. I'm just tired of that shit. So for me, the game will have to be functional day one for me to humor it. I have other games I can spend time on and honestly want to spend time on. Are not broken pieces of shit. So, yeah, that's my prediction functionality-wise. Day one is crashes and DCs. But I don't think it's going to be worse than that. Not that that's minor, mind you.
Nico, do you mind if I go next?
Yeah, no problem.
So, Asma, remember when we were having that conversation about, and you brought up the quote from Shigeru Miyamoto, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad.
True.
I find that ironic that the quote was said by Shigeru Miyamoto, who, because of the way he started running the company after Satoru Iwata died, was basically the state of games that we got. You heard all the news about the Pokemon games and the state that they came out in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was after Iwata died, and Shigeru Miyamoto took over from Iwata. So he's basically the man quoted as saying, "Oh, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." But because of him, we have a shit ton of rushed games from Nintendo that are all dog shit.
I suppose that tracks. Now that you say.
Irony.
Yeah. Which I mean, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Again, I'd bring up the example of Duke Nukem Forever. Because a delayed game is eventually good, yet that was in development hell, came out,
to be fair, that game was delayed, and it was canceled, then delayed, then re-announced, then delayed. Like that, Duke Nukem Forever.
What is cancellation but indefinite delayment?
Fair.
Yeah, so yes, yeah, I do agree with you, Asmo, on like a lot of those points. The one thing I will say, which just to clarify with you, is like I don't mind if the game releases with a few minor bugs, because I've never heard of a game having a perfect launch, like ever. So like minor bugs aside, as long as the thing doesn't keep crashing every 10 fucking minutes, like Diablo 3 when that came out, like error 37, that fucking one. Like, as long as it doesn't crash every 10 minutes, I can actually connect to the damn servers.
Just quote Francis.
Provided I do get the game, I don't mind the smaller bugs.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll add that addendum. If that was based on my prediction of crashes in DCs.
Yeah.
If it's
but like we're
if
talking
it's not that
minor.
Yeah, if we're talking like there's jitter or like everyone or not that many people experience a couple crashes. Like I'm talking like what we've seen for the track record for crashes.
Yeah.
Like everyone is experiencing at least one or two, and people make the excuses. Like you guys have been hearing these excuses the last couple of years, right? From people who are like, "Oh, well, my experience with the game wasn't that bad." It's like, "Oh, you didn't crash at all, man? Oh no, I crashed like only like 6 or 7 times."
Yeah,
Asthma. Like, you hear that shit?
Dark Tide. Yeah. you know the fucking shit we had to deal with.
I fucking hate that. Like that's how people are now defining like not a bad launch is like, oh, I only crashed this number of times. I remember when that wasn't the criteria.
I just kind of love the idea. You apply this to anything else. It's like a nuclear testing site. It's like, oh, the nuclear bomb only killed 5 people this time.
Yeah, the reactor only collapsed about 10 times. So I'd say that's a success.
It's the mentality is it's kind of like people who like get in an abusive relationship. It's like the weird excuses. I don't understand. And the sad thing is,
He only hit me twice last month. It's going good.
And the sad thing is if you point it out like that mentality, that's when they get aggressive. Not with a company that like gave them a fucking game. They get rage at you.
Holy shit, you're right. It's literally the professional version of victim blaming.
Yeah.
It's like the game only crashed 6 or 7 times. Well, dude, that's fucked. Well, fuck you, you motherfucker. You're just a hater. It's like, I'm not the one who gave you a game that crashes 6 or 7 times.
Do you reckon like a year down the line when game launches get so bad we're gonna have like abuse shelters for people that bought premium editions but it crashed on day one? I paid $90 and it wouldn't even let me connect to the server.
Oh, the idea that they buy Ultra Edition with a statue and it's just like, it's a paper mache.
I swear to God, like the coping defenders sometimes make me just wanna like not bother. It's like yeah, this is that attitude bothers me so much because it's like they're looking for any reason to defend the thing fucking them over.
Yeah,
and it irritates the shit out of me. Maybe it's because I actually have self-respect, but what the fuck? Like I don't know. It genuinely pisses me off. Like when people have that mentality.
A bit of this could also just be the fact that they don't like the idea of having a bad purchase in their life, and so they just try and justify, like they try and enjoy it to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like eventually you will just the stink eventually reaches your nose. It's just gonna happen. Unless
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully that mentality again is on the downcline, and the mentality of people actually wanting to be treated with respect by the companies we buy shit from is on the uptick. But I don't know that I won't say specifically who, but I was in an interview where I got to experience firsthand that kind of person staunchly defending bad practices to the point of like screaming at me.
Oh my god.
Like a child. Oh, that's still irritating.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah, sorry, just to bring it back a little bit. So, you provided the thing isn't crashing every 20 minutes, none of us can connect to the servers on day one. Texture popping is violent, it's not optimized, beta tested, stuff like that. If it's like, there's a big difference between a game hard crashing and just seeing one Termagon ragdoll just start flying in the air like the fucking saber cat from Skyrim if you hit it at like a funny angle. like as a good example, Skate 3. Right, infamous. Yeah, you know what infamous Skate 3 was for the retarded ragdolls when they used to spin off in midair, right? That is funny. That's a funny glitch. I love those. I do not mind those at all. Those are cool. But if a game has a bug, what if you accidentally approach a checkpoint at a wrong direction in a map? I don't know. Like there could be a number of triggers to set up a glitch, and it wipes your save progress. Big difference, huge difference.
Yeah.
So minor bugs like maybe your gun might have to be reloaded twice because I don't know the mechanisms weren't programmed properly or whatever. Neither here nor there. But if you run about hard crashes, blue screen in your computer, melting your fucking GPUs, which I've known some games to do because they're so poorly optimized. I forget. Oh my fucking god! I forget which game which melts GPUs. I swear to fucking god, there was a game that like quite literally melted people's GPUs because it was so poorly optimized.
Which game?
Trying to find it out. I can't find it off the top.
Because because the only thing I could think of was Crisis.
But but Crisis is kind of supposed to, because you're turning all the upgrades to max, and it's a really, really fucking game. Like it's a game you can customize quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But shit, probably can't find it. But there was a game ages ago that basically, before the patch was released, it was fucking with the GPUs of so many computers so much that it would literally melt. Like it would literally melt it.
Fallout 76.
Like until I can find the game on Google, I can't remember which one it was. So like I'll try and find it in the meantime.
Actually,
Yeah.
the only thing that pops up as well is maybe the one time Russian Badger played Battlefield 2042, and it literally, his CPU, his motherboard caught on fire.
Nico, you beautiful motherfucker. Battlefield 20, was it 2042?
Yeah, 2042.
Yeah, 2042 was a game that started melting GPUs.
Oh, it was that one.
Yeah.
I was gonna make that joke, but I okay, yeah, I forgot that actually was happening.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so if Space Marine 2 starts doing that, yeah, no, I'm not exactly gonna forgive that one.
Nah.
Yeah, there's certain level like. The thing is, I consider like my standard pretty low, but again compared to others. But regardless, like my standard doesn't crash, doesn't DC frequently. Like one crash in like a 20-hour playthrough, fine. That's a pretty functional game, and that could be like a really one-off error that happened. But within the first 5 hours, you have almost a crash an hour. Or you DC frequently within, like, we're talking like every 40 minutes. I consider that pretty low standards personally. And that's like the line. It's like if it just crashes a couple of times in a 20-hour playthrough or a 30-hour playthrough, fine, that's pretty damn good, especially at current. And I consider that low standards that I have. It shouldn't even be within the market of standards with what they do now, with how bad these games have been lately.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nico, what about you? Standards? Or do you just agree with me and Asmo?
I tend to. Again, like I don't want the Assassin's Creed Unity thing where their faces just pop. Though I do already sort of consider the idea of a Swarm Lord T-posing for dominance to be really funny. But
If I sort of, well, I mean, like, remember, like a Swarm Lord is like 4 arms, so it's double like it's T-posing squared.
Yeah.
Double the dominance.
Yeah.
Like a Swarm Lord, even Calgar couldn't kill.
No, he needs the bulk. He needs the bulk gun guy. It's like that's an enemy, not even a Primarch with face.
Well, I think with that we're actually done with the first topic.
Yep. That's it.
Indeedy.
We've wrapped up the first topic.
Yeah,
The second topic is alternative tabletop games away from 40K.
Ah, wonderful.
I got it like a couple, but
Yeah, I'm gonna let you gentlemen take the floor because I only have one recommendation.
I have several, so I'll let Nico go first because I'm assuming you only have one or two, and if they're on my list, I could just choose the ones that you don't pick.
I mean, I have the one that has definitely caught my interest. So the one that I've already sort of talked about before, but I mean, I did like a mini introduction to it. War Machine and Hordes. I just love this universe because this, not only is it because I love it because it's niche, relatively speaking, like compared to 40K and BattleTech, like this one is niche, relatively, but also I just love the game. Okay, so if you have never seen the artwork or you've never seen what the models look like, basically think this: you have fantasy world, sorta like World of Warcraft, let's just say as an example, right? But then you have steampunk aesthetic technology, and you also have monster. Yeah, you have steampunk robots and infantry fighting against giant monsters summoned or birthed, and druids completely attacking one another. And it's just like the funny thing is, my introduction to this was actually a mistake. Well, it was a mistake that I did on Pinterest because I love to collect 40K art on there. It's the massive art whore, and I spotted one thing that looked like a dreadnought, but then it turned out it's like, wait, this is not from 40K. What the hell is this? And then I keep looking, and then I see, okay, War Machine and Hordes. What is this thing? And then I just keep looking and looking and looking, and oh my god, I just got hooked. It scratches an itch. Whereas it scratches the same itch that 40K did for me in the beginning, where it's like after I left Star Wars, where it's just like, I don't know this, but I do want to know this, even if it takes me a long time, And yeah, I love this. Also because it has very edgy art style. It has that's the thing. Variety is not an issue with War Machine and Hordes. If you want something in particular, you likely will get it. If you want something, say, electro steampunk, there is a faction for that, Signar. If you want more hard robotic, say, Stardom, you have the K-Dorians, who basically fight. Yeah, they are the Russian faction, quote unquote. If you want something akin to the Black Templars, the Protectorate of Maneth, they are religious zealots. They will go hard. It's like you have there certainly is a mold for you to enjoy. So to sort of introduce it in my own way. So basically, many years ago, you have a continent called Imoran, and relatively speaking, everyone is in a fight with one another because there's never really any peace. Then there comes an invader called the Orgoth, who's basically the techno-futuristic Vikings, if I have to use reductive terms. Now, they rule over Imoran for many years. Then, eventually, the factions band together and they fight back, and they get some of their land back. And there's a peace for a time. But obviously, peace does not last. So, eventually, they go into war with one another again over some old grudges and stuff, and obviously you have the war setting today. And obviously the funny thing is that the Orgoth, they're not gone. They came back. And okay, maybe I'm not explaining this the best. Okay, maybe I'll go through the factions. So, you have the main faction, quote unquote, is Signar. That's the one that has the most lore. The ones to be a bit I'm not trying to be negative, but basically they are the quote unquote ultramarines of War Machine and Hordes. The thing is, though, they're not infallible, right? They're not some
Are they better than how Ultramarines are portrayed?
Yeah, yes, they are better than Ultramarines. You know why? Because basically they have how Signar acts tends to depend on who is in control. So you have your benevolent rulers, then you have your terrible ones. So if I remember the name correctly, just to give two examples, one of the best ones was called, I think it was Husker the Golden. And the reason he is the best is because he brought standardizations to the armies of Signar, and they became the most effective they've ever been under him. And then the worst one was, what was it, Melfarion? Something? I don't know, doesn't matter. And he was so bad and cruel that he he is inadvertently the reason that the Protectorate is a thing, because he persecuted. Okay, so he persecuted the people that. Okay, so in Signar, there is a religion, right? The equivalent of Christianity, right? You have Menoth, the original faith. Then you have Morrowan, which is kind of like it's kind of like Christianity, but it's a little also different, right? And basically, the faith was replaced, and the few faithful of Menoth, they started to get very persecuted, right? Until one day there is a Messiah among them, and a Messiah figure, a faithful of Menoth. He manages to gather them all around, and he wants to, rebuild the faith of Menoth within Signar. And the problem is he gets assassinated, and it causes a civil war. And so the Protectorate becomes a thing. Full blown. So again, so with Signar, they're not 100% benevolent, but they're not 100% malicious either. So yes, they are better than Ultramarines.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. And okay, and then there's Kator, which is sort of it's pre-Soviet Russia is what I call them, because they are more of a Tsardom, and I gotta tell you, they have the coolest, for me, they have the coolest looking warjacks. Now, the selling point, in the same way that Space Marines are the selling points of 40k and the mechs are the selling points of BattleTech, the warjacks are the selling point of War Machine and Hordes, because the warjacks are customizable to a varying degree, and some of them act completely differently to one another, and they all have different aesthetics. So, for example, in Signar, they are so advanced, they are like electro steampunk-ish, that they are very sophisticated. They have very sophisticated warjacks, and this is a universe where magic and machinery can work in a complete harmony with one another. And so they managed to find a way to create a brain for the warjacks, for their own particular warjacks. But in Kador, for example, they don't have a sophisticated brain, because there's very limited resources within Kador, because it's a very snowy place. So, where they lack in brain, they up them in armor. And I love it. But they're very customizable, they're very different from one another, the color scheme. So, okay, I'll just I know I'm rambling a little bit.
No, you're fine.
So I'm trying to speak normally, because how I stammer and stuff like that.
You're doing pretty good.
Okay, all right. So to summarize particular factions, so you have the Signar. I already mentioned that they are sort of the electro steampunk-ish, and obviously the Kadar, the more fortification-esque pre-Soviet Russia. The Protectorate, the Black Templars, and they're my favorite looking ones. I do have a particular picture here. Let me find it. It was, you know what? I'll just look here. Here is their warjack. Oh, I just love looking at it. Also, their symbol is, I think it's basically the Christian cross, but it's more like mechanized. So yeah.
Mechanized.
Mechanized, yeah.
Mechanized.
I don't really have a better word for it. Sorry. But then, so then one of my favorite factions, the one, because I'm an edgy boy, you have Cricks. They're basically they're undead mechanics. That's what they look like, like undead robots. They also fuse some parts of animals together. Like I said, this thing is varied, so you're definitely gonna get something you're gonna enjoy. Then you have where is it? Then you have remember that one joke, that one joke from the video. Yeah, you have your traditional elf racists, because you can't have fantasy without elvish racism.
Exactly.
Yeah, the retribution of Syra, and I actually said it wrong in the video, but anyway, so their belief is that magic, in a sense, is all connected to their god, their elven god of life and magic, and they believe that the moment their magic is basically waning, and they believe that it's like the moment that the power was waning was the moment when humanity started to gain magic. So their thought process is, hey, those bastards are stealing our magic. Let's kill them. Let's kill the magics. So, yeah. They just, the Ku Klux Eldar, as I call them. Just,
Ku Klux Kelder.
yeah, I love that name. And then you have the really steampunk, the Crucible Guard. They're basically alchemical scientists as a group. I just love that. It's like, and you see all the steams and all the things. Even have bronze for the valves or the pipes.
You go. And just as a point for the viewers, what would you say the price range is compared to GW?
Far
Like how
better.
how cheap is it would it be to get into War Machines and Hordes? Because
Okay, so
I assume they're priced around the same.
No, they're not. I would not say they're priced around the same. Let me just
Why
to
not?
make sure. Relatively speaking, they are cheaper. That's what I heard because
No,
I had-
okay, right, okay. No, I mean because War Machines and Hordes are the same sort of game. War Machines and Hordes are priced around the same, not as in priced around the same with GW, but because it's like the same two-sided game from the same publisher, they'd be round about the same. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't exactly 100% catch that, but
Okay, right, Jesus fuck. Right, so
you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
I'm literally going to explain it. So, War Machine and Hordes, right? You did say in the past that both of these can be fielded on the same field, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
so if you were to buy models for War Machine and buy models for Hordes, it would be like you could basically count them as the same price range because compared to GW, they are both better.
Yeah, they're both better. And
okay.
Yeah, the best part is also you could just put them on the same table and you could just start playing. That's the good part because obviously it's part of the same universe. And they also the thing is if you're not interested in say 100% tabletop, you do have other factions as well, such as mercenaries or minions. And mercenaries is for the Iron Kingdoms because the Iron Kingdoms are the ones with the warjacks and all, and the hordes are the ones obviously with the monsters. And
for the sake of our viewers, to answer the question of their pricing in comparison to GW, just looking at this, they do have like core army start boxes. I don't know whether these are more comparable to battle forces for 40k or if these are comparable to combat patrols. Eyeballing it, looks like they're comparable to combat patrols. I'm looking at boxes on like a secondhand market, like miniature market. They're selling a whole box for $169.99, which is $170 rounded up for USD. So that's about the same price for a combat patrol. And it looks like, according to Miniature Market anyway, the normal regular price is $199.99. So $200 is the normal retail sale for this same box set. And just eyeballing it again, it looks like it's somewhere in between a Battle Force box for 40k and a Combat Patrol because it does have quite a few miniatures in it, but just not enough. But I don't know how that compares point wise or game wise. But the one I'm looking at is War Machine Mark 4 or Goth Sea Raiders Core Army Starter Box. And yeah, if that's true though, its retail price is $200. And it doesn't, to me anyway, like miniature, like number of miniatures wise, it doesn't look like it's on the part of a battle force. It looks way closer to a combat patrol. So it's actually, if anything, more expensive.
Oh. Oh, that doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. But that's assuming Miniature Market aren't saying that the regular price is $200 and marking it down. But yeah, they're selling it. The Miniature Market normally are correct, at least for 40k miniatures that they put up, and they typically are accurate. So, but I haven't checked, like, I don't know. I looked up just War Machine and Hordes for their website, but it doesn't look like they have a dedicated website.
I mean, they do. It's just compared to GW, it's not that.
I couldn't even find it.
Yeah, like I said, this series is niche. So.
Yeah, the only thing I could find was the publisher, Privateer Press, and they've got their own website, but they don't have anything about War Machines on it, so it's a bit
It's a bit
it is very fucking niche, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I'll just to quickly summarize. I'll do pros and cons. So the pros, like I said, you have a multitude varies of factions that could definitely fit a particular player or like aesthetic that you want to go with. And there are actually, unlike, say, what was the one that doesn't have books? Conflict 47?
It doesn't have novels.
Yeah, it does have novels.
Yeah.
War Machine actually does have novels. It has several. One that I would really recommend is, what was it called? Rites of Passage. War Machine Rites. Right. There we go. What was it?
Oh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Rites of Passage. This is basically like this is the best book to get for like a starter, because these are like a collection of mini stories from a particular faction. So you have your Signar, Kadar, Krix, Protectorate. Like you have, it's an anthology basically. It's a really good one for beginners. And and relatively speaking, if you love stuff to be niche that doesn't have any kind of popularity to be exploited by the message people, relatively speaking, they are a better alternative. And the good thing is too is that because I'm part of the Facebook group for War Machine, Privateer Press run their own like group, and they do not talk. Like, I've never seen them talk about politics in any way. They just care about War Machine Horde, spreading the love, which is good. It's definitely a plus for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For a bit of a cons, well, you know how... This is something I'll give 40k and stuff. You know how Warhammer 40k and BattleTech, they have various amounts of games that you can play. Like, you can access it in certain matters. Like, you can play Space Marine, you can play Dawn of War. Like, you have variety in terms of video games.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great way to get people interested. War Machine doesn't really have this. They only have one game, War Machine Tactics, and that one is sort of mid. Like, I feel like they could add like maybe like a card game or something, just to add a little bit of variety. But yeah, also, if however you don't like things to be niche and talked about, this might not necessarily be for you. And if what Asmo said was right, that the price could be on the same level, if more expensive than 40k, then
I mean, going off the one box, it's definitely more
box.
Expensive, but
Yeah.
that could vary.
Again, that can vary, yeah. So, I mean, then again, I do know that there are fans that just want to get tabletop miniatures anyway. They're willing to shell the money for it. So, might not be necessarily that much of a downsell. I don't know. But, yeah, there are certain cons to it, but also some pros. Overall, I am interested in the universe. I'm interested in getting more books. And also, oh, yeah, that's right. And one thing I will say, they also do have audio dramas, which is one of my favorite things to experience. I love listening to 40k audio dramas, and the one I would really recommend for new people get into War Machine and Hordes is the audio drama. What was it called? No, wait, hang on.
Nico.
It was. Hmm?
Wasn't there a book within War Machines that me, you, and a certain other person started to cover? Like, what was it? The Butcher of Kardov?
Yeah, the Butcher of Kardov. Yeah. Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah, baby.
That one's really good. But I would also highly recommend if you. The good thing is, there's one really good one: the Iron Kingdoms Chronicles, the Black River Irregulars. This one is really good, and it's been dramatized in the adaptation. And let me see, how much does it go for? Wait a minute. It relatively speaking, it's cheap. So, yeah, I highly recommend this. This can last you like what, 13 hours or so? Yeah, 13 hours and 53 minutes. Okay. Oh, yeah, that is that's what I got for War Machine. What about you?
Sounds first of all, sounds pretty good, and thank you for sharing. It was very clear. Your enthusiasm was there. Love to hear it. For my recommendation, I'm gonna put forth just the one because again, I got numerous ones I can pick out, and not that I'm any less enthusiastic than you are about like War Machine, but I am gonna be a little bit shorter with my description. Mainly because I'm still learning about it, but it was recently pointed out to me. Conquest. The full title is The Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings, but almost everybody refers to it as just Conquest. It is a fantasy war game. I would like to say akin to Warhammer Fantasy, but it's definitely very unique in its own aesthetic and factions.
Wait a minute, hang on. Isn't this the same Conquest by Parabellum Games?
I believe so. Yes.
Holy fuck! Don't they have the dinosaur faction?
Yes, they do.
That was going to be my example because dinosaurs. Pop off, Queen. Go on, talk about it.
They have scales. But
don't fucking Ross went on this tangent the other day. He's like, fucking dinosaurs have scales. I'm like, they had feathers as well. Cry about it.
Well, anyway, Conquest. Again, I'm still learning about it myself. It was recently pointed out to me in detail, and I have, as I've been looking into it in terms of its fantasy setting, it's got a lot of unique, cool factions. It's got some of the standard fantasy factions we expect. Like, it's got a dwarf-like faction, a human faction. It's I would argue there's definitely some Warhammer Fantasy inspiration coming from it, but again, aesthetically, it's not leaning on anything Warhammer too hard. In terms of like the style of play, it looks like it's also taking a little bit of like the regimented fighting style that we see in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. You know, with the square bases and the crap, what are they called? I keep calling them regiments, but it's when they move in like battle lines, like in like old school fantasy battles. A good reference image. I'll share this. Like, this is a picture of how their bases and how their miniatures look. Great. It's GIF.
Do you mean formations?
Yeah. Well, that's the formations, but there's a specific term for the miniature, like square bases side by side moving in like their units.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a term for that. I'm trying to remember, and it's not coming to me. But yeah, they move in these formations of these units, and they have like dwarves, they have humans, they have the dinosaur people. It's got a lot of really fun fantasy tropes. I'm still learning about the lore. The lore is definitely interesting so far. Honestly, like if you're a fan of Warhammer Fantasy Battles specifically, and not just a fan of, I'd say there's stuff here that Age of Sigmar fans will like as well. But if you're specifically a fan of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, this has so much to offer. Like, the aesthetic is really catching. It's got like a Roman kind of Roman style human faction. It's got like the more medieval knights style as well, with like on horseback and everything. it looks really cool, and I can't wait to dive more into it.
Conquest.
Yeah, the full title is Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm looking at some of these models. They look really good.
Right, very high detail.
Also looking at some of the artwork. Let me see. Ooh, lovely.
Check out the dinosaur people. They're cool.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Dinosaurs.
But yeah, that's my submission for the tabletop faction I'd recommend. Sorry, tabletop game I'd recommend. Yeah, faction.
Well, to be fair, I was gonna pick Conquest because that was the only one I had. So, yeah. To be fair, I think I considered that a topic done.
Yeah.
Community questions. First question comes from a Tehadora _713. And she asks, what animals / creatures of the 40k universe would you have as pets? Obviously, assuming you'd be able to care for them in all aspects they need to.
Squiggith.
What was the name of that one lion? Mountain lion that had wings. 40k mountain lion. God, what was the name of that? Warhammer.
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
It was something that I saw 40k theories talking about it in his talk about different animals within 40k, and there was one that was basically a mountain lion with wings. I thought that was really cool. I was just like,
is it a mountain lion with wings, or is it just a lion with wings?
It looked like a mountain lion with wings. What's that? Hang on. 40k. The Eris animals.
Well, anyway, as Nico's trying to find the his line with wings, I'd say if I had to keep a creature and I was able to look after it, I'd just have like a decently sized house with a big fucking open water bit at the back, where I would happily keep and feed my Fenrisian Kraken. Because nothing says, like, fuck around and find out the home invaders like a colossal sea creature.
The Maru. That was the name of it.
The Mauru.
The Maru.
Good Nathan, what is that in the pond out back?
Oh, fuck. Do you know that meme of, like, fucking iCarly with, like, what have you got there? And he's behind an ostrich and he's like, smoothie. He's like, what have you got there? Just like me saying a bowl of tendies behind me, just a Fenrisian Kraken.
I just
Fun fact, aren't the teeth or like the suction like claws of like a Fenrisian Kraken used in the saw blades of the Space Wolves chainsaws, like the highest
I believe
ranking ones?
So, yes.
God, fucking hell, I can't even remember that. Yeah, Fenrisian Kraken, colossal sea creature, love him. Nico, love that picture. Looks like a.
It does. It
looks
looks
really fluffy to be a mountain lion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just using the image they used because it's the best thing I could think of, and I feel like this could also be badass, but also cute. I mean, I don't know if cute should be a part of 40k, but it's a galaxy. I can have like one animal that's adorable. Give me this.
It's like, in a universe full of death, anarchy, and absolute destruction, I want the one damn cute thing. Yeah, I
Of that, like,
as I
yeah,
said
I love it,
before,
like,
do a squiggles.
like me and Asmo go like really tall fucking Giga Death Machines, and Nico goes, "Oh, ain't it fluffy? He's a fluffy boy."
Yeah, by the way,
So
that yeah, that Nathan right there is load. That's the image of what the Fenrisian Kraken looks like.
I know.
Holy.
Yeah. No, literally looked it up. Like, I know. Ever since 40k Theories did like a video on it, I fell in love with that bitch. Like, fucking look at that thing. That is menacing.
It's got like
German
scorpion
Gunther,
like
is that
tail
you?
too.
I know. It's cool.
I,
So cool.
if I'm not mistaken, there's a theory that it's a Tyranid.
Yes, it's
Hmm.
yeah. There's the theory that the fact that it was a Tyranid, but because it spent so much time away from the fleet, it lost the hive mind connection,
Yep.
so it went rogue.
Now it's a big fuck off monster in the ocean.
He's gentle. He's just misunderstood.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that. Yeah, we'll go with that.
You beautiful boy. He did do nothing.
Except
He just wanted to play.
crush entire landscapes in a fit of tentacly rage.
He was just being friendly. He didn't know anything else.
It's like, hey, wasn't the continent like twice the size before we left? Oh yes, about that about that Rus. The
He was
thing woke up.
hungry. He was hungry. He's a growing boy.
He wanted to play catch. Come on.
Just Rush.
What's a continent or two?
Russ returns from the wolf time, comes all the way back to Fenris. Like, hey, why is it the continent is like a whole chunk smaller? Yeah, about that.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't go near the water. What? Don't go near the water. Why? Don't worry about it.
It's like the meme from Destiny, but instead of moon's haunted, just water's haunted.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is.
See, I think that answers the question from Atehadora or Mi Amor. So, next question. And I don't have any more questions because I'm no longer the community questions manager.
This comes from Alfarius. What author has done the most damage to 40k?
CS Goto.
I would have said Matt Ward.
Yeah,
ago.
because you see, I'd agree with both, yeah. Because CS Goto, from a point of view of he's done the most damage per novel that he's written, but Matt Ward's been in the game long enough to the point where his damaging stuff has become hard canon.
And then there's the argument of sheer level of damage, which, if we're going by that, I'd probably have to go with Dan Abnett. For context,
Definitely.
Shiv.
No.
What about good old Ian Watson?
Yeah, his stuff was retarded.
You know,
like his some of the
Gene steal a pussy.
I want some of that.
Gussie. No.
I swear, you read that book, and I just sort of picture him sounding like the main. What was the name? Jack Draco or something. I just sort of imagine that he sounds like
Jacques Draco.
Jacques. He's fucking Jacques. I like to think that he sounds like what was his name again? The commander in freaking Futurama, Zap Brannigan. Yeah, I like to think he sounds like Zap Brannigan.
Zap Brannigan.
I'll answer this question from two fronts, because technically these are the two ways I see to answer the question. In terms of sheer quantity of damage, when we say most damage to 40k, I'd say Matt Ward, personally. As much as I have softened on him, especially given the recent stuff, but I'd say overall Matt Ward, personally. If I had to say sheer level of damage, like not even quantity, but just like one or two things that have absolutely shattered the fucking universe. The writer of the Custodes Codex, whoever that may be, or Dan Abnett. Because
That is true.
The most damage per book, CS:GO though. Also, because backflipping Terminators is just it cannot be topped.
Was
Well,
it even,
maybe the
was-
kids that threw a rock and destroyed. What was it? Did they? What was it?
destroy
No.
like destroy an Eldar tank with a rock?
Oh yeah, an Eldar tank.
And then apparently, which I've still not been able to verify, but apparently they do something to the Eldar drivers. They
Inappropriate.
yeah, they do very sordid things to the Eldar. Like, I genuinely don't know if that's just a thing come up by 1D4chan, right? But I would not put it past CS:GO to write about the Eldar drivers getting diddled by the local populace.
Ooh.
And also triple linked las cannons. What the fuck that man was smoking, I don't know, but I want 20 of it. That man was high off his tits on something.
I think a harder question would be, hey, who's done the least damage?
Least.
To the whole franchise.
I mean, I would have
least damage.
originally said Dan Abnett, but that's before the
That's
book that shall not be
changed.
mentioned.
In terms of the popular authors, I'd say me. No, he fucked up a couple times actually. Shit.
What's his
Well,
name again?
I was gonna say Guy
Graham
Haley.
Graham McNeil? No.
Graham's fucked up too.
Oh.
Out of the popular authors, I was gonna say Guy Haley, but I have a feeling he's screwed up. Just trying to remember what.
Isn't he also of the message persuasion?
Probably.
Mm.
Would not be surprised. Yeah, like that one's actually way harder to answer because a lot of the authors have been just making things a lot worse lately. I don't think we have like any beloved authors left because Dan Abnett was the one I had left, and then he's pulled a lot of his recent shit. So yeah, I'm completely out of authors I respect out of the Black Library whole. But yeah, I think we're fine with just those two questions.
We can probably do one more. If you can find a very, 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 very quick.
Dragona says worst books in 40k.
Death in the End.
Saturnine.
Dawn of War novel by C.S. Gatto.
That was quick.
Yeah, that one was pretty easy. Saturnine. For context, Saturnine is the book Urda was introduced. Urda and Astarte was introduced in, if I'm not mistaken.
A start T.
Yeah, take out an S.
That's cute.
I find it funny whenever you snort when you laugh. I've gotten used to it with Tehe, but like, it's still not you, Nico.
Is it because of? Yeah. Is it because of me accent or something? Is it me voice? Is it just because I do it?
It's weird. I don't know. It's just weird when you snort. I just don't expect it.
Alrighty. I think that does it for today's episode.
Yeah. That was big.
Yeah, pretty good one, guys. Alright, thank you all so much for listening or watching, whichever persuasion you are. Let us know if you would like us to do a VoxWork plays of... Obviously, I would highly edit it. It wouldn't just be like a stream style yeah, I'd make it a fun edited gaming video. But let us know if you want us to do a VoxWork plays of... It was World War Z. Is that just the full title, or is there anything like sub... like...
Well, I mean, it technically does have a big DLC conversion with World War Z Aftermath, but it's just called World War Z.
Okay.
You might want to stream it on your own channel because it's not like a sort of huge thing. But
Well, I don't know.
we'll just see what the people say.
Yeah, we'll see what you guys say. So let us know on that front. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. My name has been Asmogan.
My name has been Ethan X2000.
Jeg heter Nico 4000.
And we will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Let's
Bye.
Nico's gay.